Welcome to Daxue Talks, a show powered by Daxue Consulting, a China-based strategic market research company founded in 2010. With Daxue Talks, you will stay up to date with all the latest business updates in China. Every day, you will learn from China-based experts who share their knowledge about the Chinese market in 2 to 5 minutes.
I'm Olivier Vérot. I'm the founder of Gentleman Marketing Agency, GMA. We are a digital marketing agency focused on performance, and we are based in Shanghai here.
Based on different platforms, what kind of ROIs are there for fashion brands?
The ROI, it's extremely difficult to calculate in fashions because there is many data that as marketer we doesn't have. The first data that we doesn't have, it's what we call the conversion rate. So if we drive 100 traffic, how many people can buy? And this is difficult to know because it will change in the time. So if you're a new brand, your ROI is extremely low because you are new and people don't trust you. If you're a brand that is quite famous, it can be 1 to 3%, for example, on Tmall. And if you are a brand that is already very famous and doing very well, it can reach 5 to 10%. So the first data, it's complicated, it's the conversion rate. The second data that basically we doesn't have also as well, it is the recommendations. Or it's like, if the people buy a product, will they rebuy, will they recommend it? So it's basically something that is really matter to the brand and the quality. So we have some brand we work with, their buying rate is very low, but when people buy it, it's so niche and it's so good that they will recommend this basically to their friends and to their circle. So we have a watch brand that basically that is only focused on watch, and their buying rates, their conversion rate is very low. So it's almost like 0.5%, but their recommendation rate is high. So the cost of acquisition of one user is low, but they can recommend to more users. So usually for us, we know that during the first 6 months, all the brands, if they are doing e-commerce, they're losing money on whatever platform they will use. Okay, between 6 months to 1 year, they need to adapt. Okay, and usually between 1 year to 1 year and a half, they arrive to the breaking point. Okay, so I would like to say at the beginning, the ROI will be like 1 to 0.5. So $1 invest, so 0.5 basically like income that they can get. After 6 months to 1 year, they can reach 1.1 usually in fashion. And after 1 year, 1 year and a half is like where they really start to make money. And we see this everywhere basically in the world. If you work on other platforms, it's always like this. The conversion rate is increasing if the trusts work. And basically it's because we also know the last thing, it's what we call the star product. I give you an example, like all the brands, they have a range of different products, but actually like only 1, 2 or 3 products will catch 80% of all of their sales. So if you know what it is, you just communicate on this one. If you work with Dior, you will only focus on the perfume Dior. If you work with, I don't know, with like Lancôme, you will only focus on one specific, basically, cream. So if you work with like Louis Vuitton, you focus only on the bags, for example. That's what brings all the sales. And usually it takes a little bit time to know that, because when you speak to a brand, most of the clients, what they want to sell everything. But actually, if you want to sell everything, you sell nothing. You need to focus on what really the clients want, and what they want will drive the sales to the other. So that's also why the increase of the ROI increase with the time, because the brand learns. We know about their consumer, about what they think, and basically it's also time to adapt.
What are the key partners you need to consider when you want to introduce a fashion brand online in China?
It's good questions. I think you need to have to be successful with the fashion brands, you need to set up your brand image, and so you need to have a partner really focused on that. So the brand image can be visual, can be the creation of the visual identity, have a specific positioning, have a specific niche. So I would like to say this is the first part. The second part is like to have a brand really focused on your reputation. First partner focused on your reputations. So to focus on more your word of mouth, your reputation online. That is basically your core, basically like what people will when they search, what they will find. The third partner is to focus on your visibility, on what we call the brand awareness. So it's basically like influencers, it's basically ads, it's basically social media. It's like, how can I make my brand as visible as possible? And the last factor is basically, the last one is basically an e-commerce partner. So it can be a distributors, you can do by yourself, it can be an e-commerce agency. And this partner will be in charge of selling your product, so managing basically your store. So to manage your store, they need visibility, they need a specific branding, positioning, and they also need visibility. And I would like to say the last one, it's more focused on the distributions. So if the brand want to develop their distribution, they can develop the distribution offline by stores, or finding distributors that will resell for them, or also to find online distributors, a lot of distributors or reseller or affiliate or whatever you call it, to resell your brand. So the last part takes more time. Usually the brand, they do it internally, but they can also find some partner to do that. And I anticipate your next questions, where we can help the brand for that. It's working on the reputations, it's working on the visibility, and also doing basically the e-commerce parts. Usually for the first part, it's more company like yours, Daxue, and for finding distributors and develop this part is more doing by themselves via trade fair, and have their own sales teams that basically are contacting all the different partners everywhere.
Any questions? We will find an expert to answer them. Drop your questions in the comments or send us an email, dx@DaxueConsulting.com.